Hey guys, Coach Adam talking to you today. Today I'm doing a different video. Today I'm doing a reaction and response video to the recent Cutler cast with Dan Solomon, manager Matt, and of course Jay Cutler. It's an awesome podcast. You guys should all give it a listen. So this podcast was about a whole bunch of topics, but one important one was wellness. So were they right about wellness? Were they wrong about wellness? Should you be doing wellness or should you be doing bikini? Let's see.
Yeah, there's a lot of momentum behind wellness right now. And
well, you know what it is? It's shock value.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
So why is bodybuilding, why is wellness, we consider now these like the divisions that people are paying attention to? It's shock value because whether you're a male or female and you look at a wellness competitor, you say, how does she look like that?
Yes.
Thank you. It's funny you say that because especially an elite wellness competitor.
It's so, it's so different from what we've ever seen.
Yes. So different. First of all, it is almost illogical. Like their physiques are unlike anything. You know, these girls, first of all, they're beautiful girls, right?
Yeah.
And they have these sweeping quads and this lower half development that is unexpected, right?
Yeah.
And they walk out, but it's not what makes the wellness work. Is it's not just that these are random people that decided that that's the physique they wanted to build. It's what their structure is.
Yes.
It's what their body type allows them to do.
Yes.
That's what makes wellness so cool. This isn't just a bikini girl who decided I'm going to go ahead and start doing more squats. These are body types that lend to that type of proportion and that type of structure, which makes the wellness unique. And you're right, when you see an elite level wellness, like an Olympia caliber wellness competitor, it is eye-popping, jaw-dropping, unlike anything in the sport.
I say this a lot to different girls will tell me, like, I'm going to train for wellness. You can't train for wellness. It's a genetic disposition, so to speak, to have your lower half like that and your upper half like that.
And have a waist.
And a tiny waist. But I think the reason why open and wellness will always be, in my opinion,
Okay, so is what they said right? Is what Jay said right? Dan and Matt. So let's recap it for a second. Dan is saying it's not just a bikini competitor who decided to do a bunch more squats and all of a sudden one day was a top wellness competitor. Matt says, you know, it's almost a genetic disposition to have your lower half of your body more developed and then your upper half of your body. And you can't just train for wellness just because you want to be wellness. And I think, are they right about this? Is Jay right too? I think 100% right. And I think that's a big issue we're running into now, is that a lot of people are trying to do wellness that aren't built for wellness. Okay, so if you're a bikini competitor who has, let's say, the same size joints and the same proportion as your upper half, as your lower half, good luck with wellness. Good luck with competing with the upper ranks. Now, if you want to be a competitor in wellness and you want to be an awesome competitor in wellness and get to the Olympia stage, it is going to be one of the most genetically based classes out there, because it requires you to be unbalanced from upper to lower body, basically having more lower body muscle, more lower body bone size than your upper body. So if you're a bikini competitor who likes the wellness look and doesn't care so much about competing, I say go for it. You can get some decent sized quads. You can develop your lower body a little bit more, your glutes a little bit more than it should be in bikini. But are you gonna be able to hang when you get to the upper ranks of wellness if you're not built that way? Absolutely not. It's just not, it just doesn't make sense. You know, if that's like me saying, I want to be Mr. Olympia bodybuilder when I have tiny joints and a small structure, and it just doesn't, I'm not going to ever get that big. So I need to face reality and pick the right division for me. And for me, that would be, you know, men's physique. And so it has to go, you have to not just like the look, but you have to be built for it. And that's a problem we're running into with wellness right now. Is a lot of bikini competitors are saying, oh, I want to be wellness because they might have a little bit of size to their legs. But there's a big difference of a little bit of size to your legs and wellness girls walking around with legs bigger than their boyfriends.
I say this a lot to different girls who will tell me, like, I'm going to train for wellness. You can't train for wellness. It's a genetic disposition, so to speak, to have your lower half like that and your upper half like that.
And have a waist.
And a tiny waist. But I think the reason why open and wellness will always be, in my opinion, the two that'll go to the forefront. If you're a men's physique guy, you can see, you know, obviously they're elite level, but there's guys at a lot of gyms that are physically that size. You know, 6 foot, 200 and something pounds, or a bikini girl that's, 5'5", that's 120 pounds. You see other girls at that. They're not elite, but when you see a 300-pound guy in shape, you don't see that anywhere. There's only a small handful in the whole world.
That's right.
And the wellness is the same thing. There's only a small handful in the entire world that look like that.
That can look like that.
Physically can. Same thing. You can't see a big Rami anywhere.
Right.
There's only one.
Yeah.
But there are, in some of these other divisions, there are people that can look like that.
So I want to ask you guys a question. If you look at the Olympia lineup, it's predominantly Brazilian athletes that are dominating this division.
Okay, so Matt's talking there, and he's saying the divisions that are probably going to get the most eyes on them is going to be the open bodybuilding division and wellness division. And actually, I agree with him. I think that it's going to be one of the more interesting things to watch as a fan. Wellness is really taking off right now, and it's definitely eye-catching to see both of those divisions. And even as primarily a bikini coach and men's physique coach, I look at the wellness division and I'm like, man, it's awesome. I have a few wellness people as well. But the reason I have a few wellness people is because so few people are built for it. I get a lot of people who want to do wellness that write to me and they're like, yeah, I want to do wellness. And I tell them structurally, you're not going to excel in wellness. You're going to reach a cap because of how you're built right now. You might be a little bit leg thick, but just because you store more body fat on your lower body doesn't mean you should be doing wellness. If you store a lot more muscle and have bigger joints on the bottom, then yeah, maybe you should do wellness. But so I have a few wellness competitors because a lot of the wellness girls I say, hey, you're good for bikini right now. You're not going to excel at those higher rates in wellness. Sorry. And if that's what you want to do and you want to get to the Olympia stage, you're going to run into that window pretty quick. And it's probably going to be hard for you even at a national level when you're running into girls who are made for it. So are all the eyes going to be on that? Yes. And I think that's important. He's right, and that's 100% right. The eyes are going to be on the wellness division, on open bodybuilding. And why is it? And it's the freak show factor. That's what it is. People want to see something other. If you look at what he's saying there, if you look at bikini, there's a lot of girls who could fit the bikini division. You can go to any gym during prime time and see, 5 to 10 girls that genetically can fit bikini. But how many do you see that genetically can fit wellness? It's pretty rare. So I like how he's talking here because he's really kind of putting it out there saying, hey, like you might not be built for it. And the wellness division is growing faster than any division, but it's growing faster, a lot of it with the wrong girls. A lot of the people who are doing it are not built for wellness and they're starting to climb the ranks now because it's been, a little over a year of wellness competing and you're starting to see them go to national levels and start realizing, oh, this girl's only been training for a year for wellness and she's been beating me. I've been training for it for 3 years for that look. So it's something that I think is super important to talk about. Obviously, if more people are looking at those divisions, it's because it's so other. And if it's so other, it's because people aren't built that way for the most part, and we all want to see it.
Very few, if any, just only a couple American athletes.
One, top 5.
Is that right? Just
Darishna.
one. And you would know.
She's Puerto Rican.
And you're
Our
right.
manager.
That's right. So you would know.
Yeah.
Are we going to see more American athletes make their way into that top circle, or why is this? So. Can you explain to me why this is happening? Why
this
they're
is
on?
my opinion, but go ahead. You first.
Every year, someone pops up.
Yes.
Now, like you're seeing more and more faces. Like at first, there was like a couple of girls that came out and like, oh my goodness, like they were trying to gather the division, right, and say, okay, who would fit this? And then all of a sudden, like these girls are just popping up left and right, like they're just appearing, but. Listen, man, once the division's made, like they're going to come out of the woodwork. Yes. Like there's like 4 or 5 big Ramis in a basement somewhere training that we don't know about yet that are going to come about. And it's the same thing, I believe, with wellness.
See, wellness, I think you're seeing a lot of the Brazilian girls because that division has been operating down there for 15 years. Right. Ailene Barreto, she's not a pro. She's a NPC competitor. She won 2 Arnold Classics down there 7 and 8 years ago in wellness.
Angela won 50 or 60 titles.
A ton of shows.
She's the Dexter Jackson of the division, right?
So these girls they've been competing in this for 10 or 15 years. So now when the Pro League comes and says we're bringing on wellness, they're ready to go. Yeah. They're just ready to go to where these other girls that might have the ability to have that physique, they've just started training for.
All right. So are they right about that? Why are the Brazilians taking over wellness? I think Dan said there 4 out of the 5 girls in the top 5 at the Olympia were Brazilian. And why is it? And so there's a little bit of history for you in wellness. I've actually prepped people for wellness overseas for years ago. So it's kind of cool to see that it's in the United States now, and we're starting to get people doing wellness that are the kind of what Jay was talking about, the people that are in the basements that we never saw, and they're coming out, which is really cool. But culturally, I think that we're looking at it and we're seeing, okay, culturally in Brazil, that's been a thing for a long time. 15 years, girls have been training their legs like crazy out there. That's the look that they want. You've been seeing it for years. We always talk about the Brazilian booty, right? So that's something they've been doing for years, but it's becoming really mainstream in America now too. So I do think you're going to see a lot more Americans into the wellness divisions, especially in the pro ranks. But one of the things that they have an advantage on that I think that we don't have a huge advantage on is that, remember, we're talking about how you're made. It's not just what you want to look like. I wish we could just look like what we want it to look like, because I'd look like Brad Pitt tomorrow, but we just can't do that. So genetically, it's not just one, how they're made, but two, what they did their whole life to be looking like that. So if you're in Brazil and you grow up playing soccer and beach volleyball and you're constantly using your legs and not your upper body, guess what? You're going to have more lower body development just naturally. It's going to come easier to you. You can look at me and Ashley and how we train. Her lower body grows faster than her upper body. She's very vocal about that, and it's hard for her to get balanced. She's finally done it, but it's been very hard to bring her upper body up while her lower body can just grow. Well, she grew up doing track, so she was genetically just trained a little easier and more trained those muscles, and they just respond better. So yes, someone who grew up playing soccer, someone who grew up playing beach volleyball their whole life all the time is going to have an advantage. And we have to be realistic about that. We have to look at that and say, okay, what do I want to do? And I think a lot of the bikini girls, a lot of the wellness girls who are doing this really need to look at themselves and look at their structure, maybe talk to a coach, send in a physique assessment and say, hey, am I built for wellness, or should I not be considering this and saving your time? So the issue that I'm seeing is a lot of bikini girls are doing wellness that aren't built for it. And then the main issue becomes they might have been doing good in bikini, and then they're like, I really like that look. And so then they go to wellness, and now they get a little bit too developed for bikini on their lower body, and then they realize, I'm not going to climb in wellness. I'm actually doing worse in wellness as I climb the ranks than I was in bikini. You might be doing good at a local show in wellness, but guess what? That's because there's not that many people that are genetically built that way in wellness. And yes, you are more muscular than a bikini girl, but you're not as muscular as the wellness girls at the national level or at the pro level, especially because you're just built different. So what happens? These bikini girls, they do good at a local show, they go to nationals, they realize, oh crap, I should have probably stayed in bikini because I'm doing way worse, and I probably could have got my pro card if I would have just stayed in bikini. And now they're too developed for bikini, and now we have to bring them back down. So all that hard work is lost. Now the time is longer. They don't look, it's going to take a while to look exactly back into the bikini mold again. So it's just an important thing to take into consideration. Are you built for wellness first? Is that what you should be doing? Do your joints line up that way? Does your lower body naturally hold more muscle? Not does your lower body naturally hold more fat? Okay, there is a difference in this division, especially, and genetics are huge in this division. More so than any division, I think, because you have to be built where your lower body is bigger than your upper body, which is a very rare thing. If we said that in bodybuilding, that wouldn't be an advantage. You might be able to train legs a little bit less if your lower body naturally is bigger, but there's not a bodybuilder that would want to have a naturally developed lower body more than their upper body because they wouldn't be in balance for the sport. This is not a symmetrical division. So yes, how you're built genetically in terms of your muscle and your joints is going to be a huge factor. And don't underestimate how big these wellness girls' legs are. They're not just bikini girls who worked out their legs a little bit more. These girls have legs that are pretty much women's bodybuilder legs, maybe a tiny bit smaller, but they are bigger than figure in the legs. Okay, so just take that into consideration. What's your genetic ability? What's your capacity? Where's your ceiling at? Do you fit in bikini better? I hate seeing girls pass the bikini division but are never going to be nowhere near the wellness division and kind of fade out. And that's going to be happening a lot in the next couple of years because it's relatively new to the United States. So just my take on things. I think what you should do is talk to a top coach, send in a physique assessment to the top coach, have them analyze you, say, hey, am I more built for this, depending on what you want to do. Now, if you just want the wellness look without being a top wellness competitor, by all means, go for it. But just understand, you might be hurting yourself as a competitor if you're not built for wellness. But you do whatever is best for you. But if you want to excel in the sport, that division specifically is going to be very genetically based. So write into a top coach, do a physique assessment with a top coach, and really analyze yourself and your own structure, and be honest with yourself. You know, are you chasing a pipe dream, and are you more built for bikini and you're going to accelerate at a much faster rate? Are you more built for figure? Whatever, and pick the division that's right for you. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time. Keep those questions coming in. If you like this type of video, reaction videos to these things, let me know. I'll keep doing them. Thanks so much. And thanks, Jay, Dan, and Matt. Hopefully you're not mad at me.